I call to order the November 6, 2025 regular meeting of the Whittier Port and Harbor Advisory Commission at 6:03 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin tonight's meeting, please note that digital copies of tonight's meeting packet are available on our website. A QR code is provided just outside the door in the top left corner of the YouTube video. Open your phone's camera to scan the code and you'll be able to easily access the packet.
Okay, at this time we would be swearing in our newest Port and Harbor Commissioner, but we will wait for that. In the meantime, we can proceed with the election of officers, our chair and vice chair. So the way this works is that first you have to adopt the procedure. I proposed a procedure. It's the very first couple pages of your packet. This is the procedure that we've used in the past. So if the commission is willing, if it could please make a motion. Oh, actually, you know what? I skipped a step. Let's do roll call first. Commissioner Lone. Here. Commissioner Hill.
Here.
Commissioner Rieger. Absent at this time. Commissioner Carlson.
Here.
Commissioner Goldstein.
Here.
And Chair Olzenak.
Here.
Or Commissioner Olzenak, I suppose, for the moment. For the moment. Don't get too excited. Okay, we have a quorum. So, if there's no questions about the procedure that was proposed, I would entertain a motion to adopt the procedure as presented for the election of the officers.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, voting on the motion to adopt the procedure for electing chair and vice chair. Ms. Sloan.
Yes.
Mr. Carlson.
Yes.
Mr. Goldstein.
Yes.
Mr. Hill.
Yes.
And Mr. Olzenak.
Yes.
The motion passes and the procedure is adopted. At this time, I'll ask for a motion from the commission. I'm sorry, I did this with the council as well. Okay, we will now proceed with the election of the chair. Nominations are open. Each commissioner can nominate one candidate. Would anyone like to nominate someone for chair?
I'd like to nominate Nick Olzenak for chair.
Mr. Olzenak, do you accept?
Yes, thank you, Trey.
You're welcome.
Are there are there any other nominations? Hearing no nominations, I declare nominations closed. Yes, I would love if you distributed paper. Well, actually, you don't need to distribute paper at this time because, yes, as there are no opposing candidates, Mr. Olzenak, you have won by acclamation. Congratulations on the position of chair. And we will proceed with the same procedure for vice mayor. Nominations are now open. Oh, wow. Can you tell I'm reading this? I didn't change my script at all. Nominations are open for vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Trey.
Mr. Hill, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Are there any further nominations for the position of vice chair? Hearing none, congratulations, Mr. Hill. You have been voted as vice chair by acclamation. And that concludes our elections of officers. Mr. Olzenak, I will return the gavel, imaginary gavel, to you. Back to you.
Okay, then carrying on with the agenda, citizen comments. Citizen comments on any agenda item except those scheduled for public hearing, are welcome at this time. Those who have signed in will be given the first opportunity to speak. Please note, this is not time for dialogue. It is time for you to speak and the commission to listen. Madam Clerk, is anyone signed in for citizen comments? Is there anyone present who would like to speak on any agenda item at this time? Seeing none. Moving on to approval of the agenda and consent agenda. And we have any, I guess. I don't know. It's been a while. Yes, sir. Mr.
I would
Goldstein.
move that we approve the agenda and consent agenda, Ports and Harbor Commission meeting, November 6, 2025.
Second.
Discussion? Is there any objection to approving tonight's regular meeting agenda and consent agenda as presented? Can we have a roll call, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Voting on the motion to approve the agenda and consent agenda, Mr. Goldstein,
Yes.
Mr. Carlson,
Yes.
Ms. Lone,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
The motion passes and the agenda and consent agenda are approved. On tonight's consent agenda is the approval of the June 5th, 2025 regular meeting minutes.
Okay, presentations and reports. I do not have a report. Vice Chair, do you have a report, Mr. Hill?
No, not at this time.
Harbor Master Board?
I've got a few things. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And congratulations to both of you for being voted into your respective seats. Wanted to start out, I've got a lot of stuff on kind of other new business, so I'll cover a lot of that stuff there. I did want to introduce Aniva Turi. She is our new Harbor Finance person. She's done an outstanding job. Back in June of last year, we hired her back in June of last year. We haven't really had a meeting since then. And the harbor has been undergoing a massive amount of change, especially in regards to our billing and our software that we use to inventory and everything else. So Aniva is going to give us a quick rundown on her background and where we are today with all things thereunto pertaining our inventory, QuickBooks, and so forth, point of sale stuff. So I'll pass the floor to Aniva. Thank you.
Hello, guys. Can you guys hear me well? Okay, so for those who don't know me, I think you pretty much all know me. I'm Aniva Turi. I've been a resident for Whittier now for going on almost 4 years now, and newly hired as the Harbor Finance Officer. Forgive me, I'm going to read off my chicken scratches here. This is my first time up here, and I thank you guys for giving me this opportunity to speak about this software migration that we're going through. So I'm just going to kick it off. Basically, our operations at the harbor right now are all done from one local backup. So we're taking the steps to move into the newer times with a software migration that aims to protect our current systems and upgrade them. We're hoping to enhance in efficiency and customer experience by moving to the cloud-based system of things. So our point of sale, our reservation system, and our accounting software have all been migrated into our online cloud-based backup system. In saying that, there's several benefits to this, including online payment processing being conducted. Currently now we're all receiving payments through checks, payments through credit cards. So this is definitely going to help us by accepting online payments. It can improve our PCI compliance. And it just reduces the handling of sensitive information like card numbers and stuff like that. It's going to be very effective with the cloud-based backup. It will reduce the risk of data loss. As I mentioned, we only have that one local backup, and that's pretty much like our thumb drive of everything. So if anything was to happen, there's a high chance that we could lose some very sensitive information. But yeah, this update will streamline our data process, our procedures. It'll give us a chance to do some doc checks electronically. So our guys in the near future might be able to go out there and conduct our doc checks from the actual harbor port itself, like the docks itself. And our servers are going to be more remote. So if we get snowed in, I can still kind of take that phone call and access a payment system or send out an email or something like that. What else? Oh, so we took some proactive steps. We closed down our office for a week in mid-October, where our harbor team went under some training. We conducted some training lessons in both systems so that our softwares were very proficient in both software, so we can use them to their full potential, make it worth it. And yeah, basically right now we're just fine-tuning our data entry accuracy and configuring our point of sales. Currently, we're running 5 systems simultaneously to make sure our data across the board is on point until we go live. So that's for the near future. Hopefully, we're up and running in the summertime, I think. And yeah, that's basically it. Hopefully, we have everything smooth and running really well. Do you guys have any questions or? Yes?
Yeah, just trying to get some clarity. I understood that QuickBooks Online is the main accounting software that you use, and that also feeds into another.
Yes. The
accounting-
other software is called Marina Go. So that's more so like the reservation side of things, where we check vessels in and we run the rates, pretty much check them into the rate, which would generate an invoice and send that over to our accounting system. And that's also where our point of sale will now be conducted from. So that's going to enable us to have online payments and be able to send and receive emails straight from that point right there.
And QuickBooks Online also has an online direct payment.
Yes.
This is it necessary to have Marina Go?
Yes, we definitely need it in order to keep all our information accurate, especially with the checking in and checking out, the times that people will be there for their time period. Yeah.
Okay, good. And I also heard that QuickBooks Online has 1 year of free bank transfers. So you might look into that too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Anybody else?
All right. Thank you, Neva. I might add that she walked in the door cold stone, not knowing a thing about harbor systems. And within about a month, she was up and running, had this migration 45% finished. And we were screaming ahead way faster than I thought. I kind of expected this migration would end sometime in March, and we're like 95% there. So kudos to you. You've done a fantastic job. I really appreciate your hard work and just sticking with it. So, and hitting every wall we've come across, you've nailed it. So keep going. And I think it's important to know that, this Marina Go program will allow definitely down the road, will allow our guys to just take an iPad down to a boat that hasn't registered, and they can literally register, fill out paperwork right there on the boat. I think we're going to see just leaps and bounds access. In the past, we had a desktop system that had zero backup, and if that computer had ever gone away, we'd have been hosed. So this will be great to have everything migrated into the cloud. So we're looking forward to going forward with that. Another thing, I attended the Alaska Harbor Masters Association Port Administrator Conference down in Juneau last week. We are now where we were awarded a gold certified Alaska Clean Harbor plaque. I know we've been working on this. Kyle has really been the Deputy Harbor Master Kyle Lone has been the one that's really been driving this train. And we finally got our certification this year. We pledged many years ago. I think Kyle Sinclair pledged to do it years ago, and we finally are the proud recipients of the Alaska Clean Harbor 2025 to 2028. And this will, it doesn't really give us a whole lot of, it just gives us bragging rights. It also shows that we care about our harbor, we care about our practices and our best management practices to keep our harbors and our water clean. And it talks about a lot of our recycling efforts and the things that we do in that regard. So what I would like to do is I'm going to send this down a little later on, and I'd like all you council member or commissioners to sign the back to basically say you were here when we did that. I think it'd be kind of cool, and we'll hang this up in the office. But if you see Kyle, he put a lot of work into this, and make sure you give him a kudos for that, because again, he took the ball and ran with that. I had put forward a resolution to demo the finger pier on the east side of the city dock. That was approved in October. The main reason we were going to do that was because Harris Sand and Gravel had to go in and get those 2 steel piles between X-Ray and Whiskey. They didn't think they would be able to maneuver their barge in there. We talked about it kind of being a win-win. We could demo a piece of dilapidated infrastructure and they could make easy access. Their boat driver or barge operator got a little antsy. They had a super high tide. They removed some fingers on Whiskey, and they were able to, within inches, squeak by the finger pier, get those 2 things without having to demo it, and then squeak their way out. So there's some consternations about why we were really wanting to move forward with demo and that. My recommendation to council, and I sent out an email today, was to curtail demo in that and going ahead and spending that money. And I'm working on a quote right now on getting safety ladders installed more in our harbor. I mean, right now we've got a dozen or so spread out amongst the harbor, and I'd like to try to get get those more coverage. So that's kind of my thought process right now, is to go down that road, use that $36,000 to make the harbor a little bit safer for us all. Let's see, Whittier Moves. I'm still working on the Whittier Moves transportation plan. I'm part of that process. That's been keeping me pretty busy. A lot of paperwork going back and forth, and that's a massive document. If you guys get the opportunity to check it out, I highly recommend you look at it. Our legislative priorities, the city has sent out a questionnaire. I'm not certain if you guys have seen that, but if you haven't, you have an opportunity to put your 2 cents into that and help prioritize our legislative priorities. How long is that up for? Till next Monday. So I highly recommend, if you haven't filled out that form, to jump on that and take advantage of if you don't vote, you can't complain. Let's see. And then everything else I think we'll cover on down the road. That's it for me. Anybody's got any questions? I'm standing by to stand by.
Commissioner Long?
Sorry, I had a question about the finger. Is that something that is going to have to be demoed anyway in the future?
We don't have any real plans for it now.
Okay.
The thought was maybe take it down, take some of the piles that were there and put them alongside the city dock as it sits now. It's kind of some battering piles, so we could tie, boats might be able to lay up against there more easily. I mean, they already access it as it is, but I'm conflicted to a degree, but I'm not.
Okay.
We don't come across $36,000 easily, right? And we thought it was going to be a win-win to begin with, and now it's kind of like, well, now it's just kind of a nice to do.
Okay.
In my opinion, when we have an opportunity to maybe redirect that money to something like safety ladders.
Okay. I was just wondering if it was like kind of one of those situations like with adding the ADA sidewalk, like they're already here. We can get it done for so much cheaper right now. But if there's another better use for that money, then okay. I think.
Since we're talking about that, I was going to save my question till the end, but since you're on that topic, is there any concern from the harbor of that finger from a safety perspective? Just being somebody who I visually look at it, no railing, no deterrent from somebody walking out there and stepping off of it. Is there I'm backing up what you're saying, I guess, Commissioner Loam, that I love the latter idea. This has been a topic that we've had in meetings before, but also like if you're raising the safety bar and the time is now, maybe what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my plan right now is I know we get a couple of people that walk out on it during the summertime, for good pictures. And I think we can easily just put something up to keep people from walking out on it. Handrail or guard, just a rail to go across there and kind of keep people out of that area. I'd like to kind of fence that area off alongside the Connex because we do some work over there. And if I kind of got some portable fencing and just kind of fenced it off in the summertime, we would be able to use our burn barrel over there like we do now, and different things like that, and just kind of make it a area just for our harbor folks to access.
Last thing I'll say about it, and I'll promise I'll stop. Just thinking about availability of resources. I think just from some input maybe for you in your decision-making process is that the ladders are very important, but we don't need Harris Sand and Gravel here to install ladders, probably. Wouldn't think. So maybe, I don't, it falls on your desk, but I'm a simple thinker about they're here and maybe trying to put that money or that upgrade in next year's. I guess we don't have a next year's budget. It's a 2-year budget process, but finding it in the next process somewhere so you don't lose the opportunity to, for any boaters that have come around that corner when it's windy, it's also a bit of a hazard too. I also understand, as I was at the last council meeting, that some of the question with that, but good luck.
And to be fair, I mean, they did vote to do it. I may get feedback that they say, no, do it. We'll find the money for the ladder somewhere else. So, I think Shelby's going to send that email out tomorrow. So we'll see.
Any other discussion or comments? Okay, then we're going to back up a step because I must have missed something in the agenda. We have a presentation tonight. So Harbor Master Borg, you're back on stage for a presentation.
Hey, Dory.
Hi.
Plaque.
I love it.
So this is honoring Dory Yelverton for your years of service with the City of Whittier Port and Harbor Advisory Commission. Thank you for your contributions and dedication to this community from January 2023 to October 2025. So we will figure out a way to get this to you. If you ever come back to town this winter, I wouldn't recommend this week.
Not with
But,
these roads.
We've got this beautiful plaque for you. So thank you again for all your input and your help. And if you're ever thinking about it again, we could always use you.
It was my pleasure and honor to serve.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Dory. Okay, now getting myself back on track. This will be fun. Yep. Resolutions. Next on the agenda are resolutions. First resolution is Resolution 2025-004, recommending the Whittier City Council support full funding, $18,186,535 for the State of Alaska Municipal Harbor Facility Grant Program in the fiscal year 2027 state capital budget. Is there a staff report on that?
Yeah, thank you. So every year, the Alaska Association of Harbor Masters and Port Administrators, AHPA, for which I am a board member, we do a resolution up that actually goes through AML. They present this to the state. We work hand in hand with them to request that they fully fund the harbor grant program. This is not, we aren't spending money on this. This is just us as a city, as a municipality saying, hey, state, the only way we can make these harbor improvements like we're doing right now is if you fund this grant program. And, this $18 million is actually a 50-50 match. So that's communities at least putting in another $18 million into the state's, into the improvements of infrastructure. So what we're asking for is just that they support this, that we ask, that when we put this forward, when we go to the Hill and we talk to the legislatures each year. We say, hey, 25 communities have said you got to fund this. Right now, for 2027, it's probably going to get scratched. It was scratched in 2022. We lost it. We got it in 2023. So it's very important that that we support other communities that are going for this right now. And right now, I believe there's 6 projects on the list for 2027. That's why the $18 million price tag. But so that's just our recommendation, that we ask their support.
Okay. Is there a motion and a second?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Seeing none?
Voting on the motion to approve Resolution 2025-004, recommending the Whittier City Council support full funding, $18,186,535 for the State of Alaska Municipal Harbor Facility Grant Program in the FY 2027 State Capital Budget. Mr. Carlson,
Yes.
Mr. Goldstein,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Ms.
Yes.
Sloan,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
The motion passes and Resolution 2025-004 is approved.
Great.
Okay, moving on to resolution 2025-005, recommending the Whittier City Council support raising the maximum available Alaska Department of Transportation Harbor Facility Grant to $7.5 million for eligible projects on an annual basis. Is there a staff report, Mr. Borg?
Yes, there is. Thank you. So back in 06, when this Harbor Fund or Harbor Grant program was put in place, the max that a community could match was $5 million. And basically, if you adjust it out for CPI between 06 and 2023, that increase would be about 7.5 million, a little over 7.5 million. So with the cost of business going up, what we're asking is the state to raise that match to 7.5 million moving forward, because like I said, right now it's stuck at 5 million. So it will allow communities, especially larger communities, to really do a better job of improving. Thank you.
Is there a motion and a second on that resolution?
Yeah, I move we adopt resolution 2025-005.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none?
Voting on the motion to approve Resolution 2025-005, recommending the Whittier City Council support raising the maximum available Alaska Department of Transportation Harbor Facility Grant to $7,500,000 for eligible projects on an annual basis. Mr. Goldstein,
Yes.
Ms. Sloan,
Yes.
Mr. Carlson,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, at this time, could I take a moment to swear in? Oh, I'm sorry. Also, the motion is passed and Resolution 2025-005 is approved. At this time, could we revisit the swearing in of new commissioners?
Yes.
Mr. Rieger, will you join me in front of the dais, pretty please? Okay. If you could please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Richard Rieger,
I, Rick Rieger,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the constitutions of the United States
the constitutions of the United States
and state of Alaska
and state of Alaska
and the laws and ordinances
and the laws and ordinances
of the city of Whittier,
of the city of Whittier,
state of Alaska,
state of Alaska,
and that I will faithfully and honestly
that I will faithfully and honestly
perform the duties of the office
perform the duties of the office
of Whittier Port and Harbor Advisory Commissioner.
of Whittier Port and Harbor Advisory Commissioner.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Beautiful. Congratulations.
Very sorry I'm late, guys. Take care.
Would you sign that one and then return it back to me
Okay.
before the evening? Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to other new business. On other new business is the preliminary waterfront and economic development plan. I'm guessing I'm kicking that back to you, Harbor Master Board.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had God, what day was that? Sometime in September, we had a council-specific waterfront economic development plan meeting, where a handful of things were brought up in addition to where we are with the plan. I have not had an opportunity to fine-tune that input that we had with the team. With Corvus. So I am going to be working on that feverishly over the course of the next week because I really need to get that to them because basically they have a product that's ready to hit the street. I'm really excited about it. I think it's really good information. And we are very close to the finish line getting that thing out there. So if you have any input, let me know before Friday next week. Any questions on that? Nope. Perfect. Commercial dumpster update. That sounds fun. So I had hoped to have a little bit more information on costs and anything that we might have saved. I do know that once we got the 15-yard dumpster out at the head of the bay, this is all just wonderful stuff to talk about. But yeah, I just want to give everybody kind of a heads up. Last year, we spent about $40,000 on trash removal. As you all know, we maintain trash removal for the entire waterfront, not only just harbor users, but restaurants, all of the trash cans that are located throughout the entire city, campground. And so last year we purchased 7 8-yard dumpsters with the thought that maybe a little extra, well, one, they're bear proof for the most part, not human proof. We know that. We did get a couple of bears that got in them. Our PD got really good at getting them out. And so my thought was that if we have a larger capacity that maybe we could go down to once a week, but what we found was with the increased amount of people that coming into town, we were just flat, right? We still maintained a large portion of trash that we were still requiring to get dumped twice a week. So we maintained that. I did finally get a 15-yard dumpster at the head of the bay, directed all the businesses to trash there, as well as our city guys when they run around and they pick up all the trash from the smaller trash cans, which we had I don't even know how many we have in town right now, but I bet we're probably close to 20. So they would empty those almost daily and they would all go out to the 15-yard, and we had that swapped out every Friday. Unfortunately, I do not have the numbers, but when we did that, that allowed us to go down to once a week on the 8 yards. And that's important because every time we tip an 8-yarder, it's $238. Just tip it. When they show up, stick the forks in it and dump it. It's $238. So when they were doing that 8 times a month, it got expensive, right? I hope to have the numbers next month for our next meeting, and I can give you a rundown. But my thought is we're probably going to be in the $150,000, $60,000 range for trash this year. I see no relief at all in that. It is our single largest cost to the harbor next to salaries. So I've got a couple other ideas. I need to talk to Alaska Waste about. I've got to see if I can run a couple of more things by them. But at this point, it's what it is. So we're going to keep paying the bill. But I'll have better numbers for you next month. Sorry, I don't have them with me. I thought I would, but I just couldn't get them.
Commissioner Goldstein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To the harbor master, just wondering here about the dumpsters themselves. How much of that is actually recyclable material, like plastics, glass, cans, soda cans?
I would say probably 50%, if not more. I mean,
So-
I really don't know. It's not something that I've done a deep dive on.
I'm just wondering here if a company like AML or maybe one of the cruise ship lines could go ahead and support a recycling center here or some kind of depository where people could put the recycling materials in, and that basically would cut what we pay out as far as the dumpsters themselves, and possibly put that stuff on a gondola and head it out with with the rest of the recycling stuff that goes out of here.
Guess my question to that would be, who would separate it? Because right now, everything that comes off the harbor is it's going right into the dumpster. It all goes in big trash bags. They bring it off and
Yeah.
same thing with all our trash cans that we have around town. I mean, we might be able to figure out some new trash cans with some like recycle sides. And I know, that might be a handful of stuff, but yeah, something to look at. I just don't know how.
Yeah, you would almost have to depend on people to fill this stuff up. I'm wondering if there's any other solution that maybe AML can support. I mean, they're always looking for public projects or ways they can do positive things for the communities they're in. Even the railroad. The railroad actually did some work, I think, up at Houston, where they help with some of the recycling stuff over there too. So here we have these big companies here. We have a lot of trash that we put out, and it would be really nice to see them step up to the plate and help out with us. It's a little bit annoying to take our recycling stuff back into Anchorage and put it in all the dumpsters or all the facilities they have there, and then basically see it come back out of Whittier and go out.
Don't disagree.
I can make, I want to share one thing. I follow another community at the very, very end of the Kenai Peninsula that does appear to have some sort of a recycling area. And I don't have any statistics on this, but the social media buzz about it is it does not work in any way because of what you said, Commissioner Goldstein, about, and Harbor Master Borg, about somebody's got to deal with it. Looks like they rely on the community to sort it, and looks to be quite an ordeal.
I was actually going to say that if I can get them to shut a lid, maybe we can get them to recycle.
It is unfortunate that we continue to have this conversation month after month after year after year. And
I've just reserved myself to the fact that it's not going to change, and we're just going to keep getting more dumpsters, and we're just going to pay. So that's what my marching orders have been, and that's what we're going to do.
It's just very, I don't know. I see like $160,000 for emptying trash. It's just like, that's like a dagger to my heart when I think of all the upgrades on the waterfront and for the harbor and things that could be done, even if we used half of that every year.
Well, that's boat users or boat harbor patrons paying for commercial trash. I'll just leave it at that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
I had a quick question. As far as the transient commercial guys, the bow pickers and stuff that come in during the summer, are they contributing with their fees to, because tons of them come in and, dump all their trash and they're from Cordova or whatever else. Just wondering if they are contributing to that cost,
With their daily mortgage, and which is $1, what is it, a
okay.
day right now? I mean, they're paying the highest fees to tie up, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
So they do, yeah. And anytime I did, a year ago, we came up with that environmental fee. So every transaction gets a 25-cent addition to it, which I don't know. We haven't really run those numbers yet because that just started this year. So we should have something by next year, early next year, to say that brought $350, $3,500 to the kitty. But I mean, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because that also covers oil removal from town. Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, a majority of the trash comes from the businesses.
Yeah.
So
Do we have a number or a specific number of what they're paying again? I know we've talked about it maybe like last year.
I think it was $50 a month this year, and I think it's $75 next year.
Okay. A month?
Shelby's going to
Not
check
a
it out.
week,
Yeah,
or-
it's a month.
How much the businesses are paying for trash every month is $75 a month.
It's part of their lease.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Interesting thought. Interesting thought on that is what the lease, we talk about leases, and I want to talk more about them in the future, but we talk about the, what is it we were talking about, Shelby? The in the lease, the use of, what is that term called?
Oh, intended use.
Intended use, like tying a certain fee to a certain intended use of the business, because I'm very familiar with the businesses in the harbor, and some produce almost no trash and some produce mountains of trash. And so maybe that's the way, as we get into that code part of it and code enforcement and lease enforcement, maybe there's a way to address it there that's more weighted towards, because it's $50 or $75 or $100 for some of those businesses doesn't even begin to even come close to paying for a fraction of what they're producing in waste, right? So I don't know. Commissioner Goldstein, you had something to add?
Yeah, thank you again, Mr. Chair. It seems like the majority of trash comes from the boaters and the businesses over in the Triangle and the harbor. And they're paying a $75 fee, I think, every month for that. Right, going to. We also have this volunteer group of community kids who go out every summer and try to clean up here around town, and they pick up some of the trash there also. I'm just wondering here if we make a system available for the businesses to recycle the cans and the glass into separate containers, if there is a way to maybe mitigate that $75 as an encouragement for these people to recycle. It just seems to me that here we are in a small community, basically having to deal with a lot of trash from segments here of the community. I know Baggage Towers takes care of their trash, Whittier Manor takes care of their trash, and our city staff, I think, does a tremendous job with the trash cans here around town. But most of the stuff, plastics and glass and aluminum, seems to be related to the harbor area here, the harbor businesses and the boaters. So I'm just wondering if there's a way to make it a little bit more convenient for them to put plastics in plastic and put glass in glass and aluminum in aluminum.
You can't get people to close the lids on a dumpster.
Oh, I know.
To that point, so proximity to the harbor entitles you to a trash can if you have a business. So if I have a Burger Shack and I park it right next to your office, right? Got my Burger Shack, I got all my things, and I'm flipping burgers, and I'm getting cases and cases and cases and cases and cases and cases of burgers in. Everything's said and done, I just go use your trash can. Is that how owning a business at the harbor, like, where's the demilitarized zone? Like, how far away from the harbor do I have to be to not use your trash cans?
The way I understand it is harbor lessees. So anybody that's leasing in the harbor district is authorized to.
I'm curious. Can we see that in writing? Like, can we see the leases that and give people the right to use the
Oh, there you go. Look at that. Boom.
reading my mind. No, man, that's a screaming deal.
So next year it'll be $70 a month and $80 in 2027.
Is there any thought on if you like maybe
I mean, it's just, we're, I guess we're having discussion on other new business. So Commissioner Carlson?
Nick, if you had a dumpster out in front of your business, what would that run you a month? Just for your trash? I mean, if
I
you-
think Dave can answer that better than anybody because it would be similar cost to each dumpster that we're paying for now, right? You said $243 to tip it?
Yeah.
Not
I believe
including-
it just to tip it.
Yeah, not including.
It doesn't include the weight.
Yep.
And then the surcharges of fuel and anything else they add to it. And if you have to rent the can, you have to pay a rental fee. And if you want a bear-proof can, then you have to pay the extra for the bear-proof lid attachments and things like that. So they kind of nickel and dime you there. I can't even remember what we were paying for the 6-yard dumpsters. I don't have them anymore, so I just haven't.
Thanks, Dave.
I'm going to close that. Can I answer? I'm going to answer your question. It would be the cost of doing business would be the cost. Okay. Can we move on past garbage? Everybody good with that? We'll move on to maybe number 4 will be a little brighter spot in the meeting agenda. Harbor Master Board, update on the harbor rebuild phase 3.
All right. Thank you, sir. Things are moving along pretty well, other than this weather today. This is another thing that Aniva and her crew have done a fantastic job playing Tetris in the harbor with boats, moving everything around. So those guys can work and drive pile and get the barge where they need to get the barge. But pretty much every morning we have a meeting with Webb, the main guy down there, and he comes in and talks about where he needs to be the next couple of days and where we need to move boats. They have all the pile in from E over to G. G float's actually in. I think they actually got a couple of fingers in the other day before the weather started on the west or on the west side of G float. A float's in and it's completely piled in now. And today with all that wind, she was a stone in the water. It was awesome to see. It wasn't even moving. It was really, when I asked them to design that, asked them to design it to, pretty extreme weather and wind. And they did a bang up job. The electrical guys showed up today. They're going to start kind of mapping things out to get the electrical in. They are on target and tracking, and they're hoping, this weather kind of is hosing us over a little bit, but they're hoping to have all the pile in before Thanksgiving. So once they do that, then it's gravy from there. I'll be breathing a sigh of relief to have them have the barge out. Yeah, there haven't been any real snags up to this point, and things are moving really well. I'm very impressed with how well things are going. I think they got the water lines in on G float, which is good. And so electric's next, but really happy with that. Any questions on G?
I don't have any questions.
I was just, I do a lot of boat watch down there, and that A float, all the big seiners tie up there traditionally. And one thing I've noticed over the last few years is when we get this west wind, especially the ones on the east side of A float there, they're literally tearing the docks out. Do we have a better system for those big boats, bigger cleats, more support? I mean, because you could literally see them tearing the dock down.
Yeah. So when they built the bull rail, they put a bull rail system back in, and they instead of having it every 6 feet. I think we had them put bolsters through the whalers at like every 2 feet.
Okay.
So
Way more support.
It's way more. Yeah,
Okay,
way
yeah.
more than what was there. Yeah. And they used a double whaler system on it. So it's solid. I'm really happy with it.
Commissioner Carlson.
Not a question, Dave. My hat's off to you, corralling the cats down there and making this project go. Like, I know it hasn't been an easy task, but honestly, hats off to you. The docks look damn good.
And then an update on the Reveep Harbor lights upgrade.
Have you guys seen those awesome lights down in the harbor and the launch ramp?
I've shared pictures. Very, very cool.
Been a long time coming. Appreciate you guys kind of holding out. I went after this grant, I think 2 or 3 years in a row. And of course, Shelby did it and got it. So kudos to her. We got a grant in the amount of $53,000. We spent 38% or 38,000 of that. The city threw in, well, we had budgeted for 17,000 and we ended up spending 12,000. And our in-kind was 5,000 and we ended up spending 23. So we actually came in well under budget for the project. They charged us time and materials, and the entire project cost us about $11,000, which isn't too bad to get all that new, fresh, beautiful lighting in. So I think we've finished that project out. Chris submitted all the paperwork, but yeah, it looks great. I really like the fact that it's white light that shines down. You don't get this big, light pollution of that orange sodium ugliness. I'm really, really happy with it. So yeah, and they're smaller, so they're not such a sale area, but a lot of those aluminum lights, they were well past their service life, especially the 250s that shine down in the harbor. And they probably would have lasted about another year, if that. And a lot of the 150s that are along the walkway had already burned out or caught fire, and we just couldn't keep up with the maintenance on them. So this is huge to be able to have that LED. And we should see the guy was telling me from Consolidated that installed it, we should see about a 65% savings in our electrical just for that line. So that's huge compared to the sodium. So thank you.
I think tonight's a great night to look down there and appreciate them. It almost makes the weather look worse because now you can see it. The sodiums was one thing, but the bright LEDs is like, but it also highlights the necessity for other lighting. Now that all that lighting it's amazing. The feedback I've received from out in the boating world is now it makes the launch preparation area like pitch black when you're up there. So like it almost, you know what I mean? It's so good that it makes you go, oh, there's literally no light over here now. So opportunity for the future. It's a great job. And then anybody else, any comments on that one? And then monthly transient mortgage annual discount on the other new business. Dave has something to read.
So back in September of last year, remember we talked for weeks and months and months and months about our mortgage fees in 2020. Gosh, was that 2024? Because we wanted to have a budget for 2025, 2026, right? So one of the things that we had talked about was, Dave, Commissioner Goldstein's talked a lot about square footage and how we could kind of come up with a formula that might more accurately determine or have those larger vessels pay a little bit more because they take up more space in the harbor, and a lot of the smaller transient boats basically subsidize the entire harbor because that's just how it works out. And while we didn't disagree, it was damn near impossible to try to come up with a formula. I'm looking at Aniva thinking she can probably come up with a formula. So maybe something we can talk about down the road. But anyway, I think where I went was more with the annual transient mortgage agreements. And I came up with a spreadsheet and pointed out that since 2004, from the best that I could determine, Since 2004, the vessels that were taking, and I use the term taking advantage because that's just, they got this thing, this non-codified fee that based on the rate structure at the time, and I went from 04 all the way forward to 2023, maybe 2024, thank you, and realized that in that time we had given away plus or minus 10%, $2.3 million in mortgage, or $2.4 million in mortgage. And that's important because this, and I'm just going to use the term ATMA, Annual Transient Mortgage Agreement. This ATMA was never a codified fee. The thought process behind it was if you were a boat owner, and I'm kind of just giving a history lesson for the folks that aren't aware. Rick, I don't know how much you know about this, but I think it's important that we're all on the same page. The idea that the substance of the plan was if you had a boat in a stall, assigned a stall with a boat, and you sold that boat to somebody else and you released your stall, the person that bought the boat would get the same fee that a preferential mortgage agreement recipient was paying. So they didn't have to pay transient mortgage, the monthly transient mortgage rate, because that's extremely high, right? So this person would buy the boat and get this annual transient mortgage agreement. They weren't assigned the stall. The owner had to give the stall up. And the thought was that we would assign that stall. But 9 times out of 10, what happened was a lot of these boats that sold were very large and we had no other place to put them. So now they just ended up staying in that stall. And right now I've got 36 boats in stalls that I can't assign because I have no other place to put them. And a lot of these folks that have the annual now feel like they are assigned that stall, and heaven forbid we put anybody else in them because it turns into an argument and a fight every time. So we are currently losing about the vessels that are taking advantage of this. We're losing about $211,000 annually in mortgage that they should be paying if they were paying the monthly and or the winter mortgage, right, combined. And I can show you that a little better here in a minute. So one of the issues that I've had with this annual transient mortgage agreement is it's non-codified. They never codified this fee or this process. So there's a handful of vessels that are getting this fee that nobody else can get because I won't allow it anymore. I said, no, you can't get it. The lawyers have said that it's a non-codify and it's kind of an illegal process because nobody else is authorized to have it. The council said we weren't going to do it anymore. So that's my marching orders. However, they did not want to revoke the current ATMA users. Now, the ATMA users came to the meeting when we were talking about this, and obviously they had a lot to say about it, and I don't blame them. That, you know, they had a contract with the city for this fee and that they should be able to keep it, and that if we revoked it, that there would probably be legal ramifications. They would sue the city because we no longer honored that for them. I would turn that around and say, I don't know why the other folks that are paying full fare aren't coming to the city and saying, I want that sweetheart deal. And if I don't get it, then I'm going to sue you. So, I mean, it works both ways. So the meeting was a little contentious. The council decided not to revoke the ATMA because how I had worked it out was I wanted to, and what we had worked out as a group was that we would revoke the ATMA by adding a 25% cost over 4 years until everybody was even with the same cost of basically the monthly and the winter mortgage, you know, the annual monthly and winter mortgage. And, you know, that way they wouldn't get such a sticker shock right out of the gate. Well, that still wasn't good for them, and council voted that they would remain. Now, one of the things Mr. Councilmember Pincush said was that he would do some math and do a little work and try to figure out a way that we might more equitably solve this situation. And so he provided me back in early September with this resolution that is included in the packet. And at the end of the day, what his thought process is to lower the 12-month consecutive monthly mortgage 40% across the board. So if somebody's going to stay in the harbor for an entire year, we would charge them the monthly amount reduced by 40%. So if we did that, the monthly mortgage for next year is $19.25 a foot a month, right? If we reduce that to 40%, it would be $11.56 a foot a month for the entire year. It's a pretty good hit. The vessels, well, if we want to show I've put together a spreadsheet, and follow along if you can. It makes sense to me, and that's dangerous. What's that? Oh, good. It makes sense to Aniva. We're good. Okay, so these are the current vessels that are currently that are in the harbor, and they are paying from 1 April to 31 September, the monthly transient, right? So they do this every 6 months. And then come 1 October, they shift over to the winter transient, which is a rate they came up with years ago because they thought that we would get more vessels to come in the harbor in the wintertime. I guess we had cod boats back in the day that used to come in here, and I'm not seeing them, but we already have vessels that just stay in the harbor all winter long that are not annual transient mortgage vessels. So I did put the names. I didn't put the names of the vessels, but the 40, 37, 36 in the far left corner there, left side, those are all vessels that are currently paying this fee right now. This is what they're paying. So if you see what they're paying in the next, in column B is what they're paying right now from 1 April to 31, right? 31 September. And the sales tax, I just threw the sales tax in there because I know there's some discussion about doing away with our sales tax again, going seasonal with it again. So I just threw that in there to make sure that we saw what we're losing, okay, if we decide to do that. And then do I have okay. So if we look over here, this is what that vessel's paying for the wintertime. And there's a sales tax on that. So this is what that vessel's paying the entire year. And that's the taxes for the entire year. Now, if we do this new plan of $11.56 a foot for the entire year, that's going to drop their mortgage down to $5,500. And this is the lost income to the harbor, $1,300. Okay. So if I scroll down to the bottom of the page, we're going to lose, if we do this plan effective next year, the harbor's going to lose $36,000. Okay. And almost $2,000 in sales tax. So one of the things I asked Mr. Pincush is, would you consider applying this to the annual ATMA vessels? Because that's the whole idea, right? We wanted to get everybody on the same page. Because if we did that, here's the vessels right now that are currently taking advantage of the ATMA, okay? And that's what they're paying. Now, if we went to the 1156, this is what they would be paying, and it would increase their costs quite a bit, right? But we would actually put $45,000 in our bank account to the good, which is kind of a great idea, right? Now, knowing full well that this is a pretty massive hit to anybody, right? And I don't want to create a situation where it's going to cost them, put them into the poorhouse. So what my thought was, maybe we can meet the council halfway. And can you punch in $13.50 right there? Because I'm going to try to, no, $13.50. I'm sorry.
Kidding, just kidding.
Now, let me see if I can do this. Oh, I did it. So if we did this, change this to $13.50, and I just grabbed a number out of the air, that puts our loss at $11,000, right? And if we came over here with this number in mind over here in the red, and can you put, let's say $8.50 in there, $8.50.
You double click on that corner, it'll auto.
Oh, see?
Yeah, this right now.
gotta get it lit up. Oh, see, you learn something new every day. So if we did that, we're 15K to the good. Okay. And it's going to cost them a lot less. Now, my thought would be the following year, this goes to $12.50 maybe. And this goes to $9. And it doesn't hit the pocketbook quite as hard. But then we do a couple of things. We start kind of recapitalizing. We start regaining some of our losses that we've been taking over the last couple of years. And we get rid of this non-compliant, basically this, I hate using the term illegal fee, but we get rid of this fee and we get everybody fair and equitable on the same page eventually. And in a couple of years' time, everybody is even. So then if we just said, okay, we're going to go $11.50 or $11.56, I'm sorry. And just, man, I wish I'd known that sooner. And do me $11.56 there. Oh, sorry. Then we're, we'll get a lot better off. And then anybody that comes in the harbor, I'm all about doing that for a year. This will help out. I mean, obviously, this will lower costs for these folks right here. Might make them feel a little bit better. It may bring more boats into the harbor, but I'll be honest with you, I've got very little room right now as it is for any more big boats. We just don't have it.
Can I clarify something, Harbor Master Borg?
Absolutely.
Maybe all of you are looking at this and you're like, Rick, you're like, it makes perfect sense. It's not confusing at all. Or you're looking at it and you're saying, huh? The top are people that if they get assigned a slip today, if they get a call from Harbor Master and they get assigned a slip, correct me anytime I am incorrect. This is the rate that they'll pay. This is real rules, right?
Well, this is what they're paying on the transient rate right now. Winter and this, the 84.46 is what they would pay if they got assigned a stall.
Right.
Now, these folks, none of these are assigned a stall.
But
These are all just taking advantage of that annual transient mortgage agreement.
Right. So the people up top would be following the rules that are currently in place because they'd be paying transient.
They already are.
Those people, they're following the rules.
Right.
They're paying the transient rate.
Yes.
They're not. We don't use the term preferential stall holders anymore, or do we?
Yeah, we do. We have
They're not.
the
They're
ones
not
that are
those,
assigned stalls.
which the below people should have been, or they think they should have been, right?
Up
So,
here.
but these folks down here are not and are paying what they would if they were. I don't want to confuse
Say
it
that
anymore. Down at the bottom, the
Uh-huh.
bottom half, the
Right.
second portion, those folks are paying as though they are assigned stall holders,
Yes, correct.
but they should
And they
be
act like they are assigned stall
right.
holders.
But they should all be up in the top. And so right now, the group of people in the bottom are just. I know this is a meeting, but I'm just going to say what it looks like. It's like a protected class.
It is.
You can no longer get that because council has directed the harbor to no longer offer it because it doesn't pencil. But these folks here are sort of protected, and the proposal is to help the above people out
Right. Right. Yeah.
by giving a large discount and losing.
And us taking a $36,000 pop.
And so Dave's proposal, I'm trying to simplify it, not only for me, but for everybody, is to take the protected class and the following the rules class and bring them together over some period of time so that the protected class doesn't have a shock in their pocketbook, right? While being subsidized by the people that are paying the fees that are currently the real fees in the harbor.
the codified.
Yeah,
fees.
if you, and I know I'm saying it in such a way, but that's the reality of what's happening is we're protecting a certain group of people and the other group of people is subsidizing that. And nowhere, anywhere, when attorneys get involved, is that good. So I'm saying in the meeting, I for sure think that the harbor master should have some plan to bring this together, right? Which I think is what you're providing today is this is broad, but this, something like this could be how we bring it together. And I'm sure you have a response to this suggested resolution coming up or whatever, right? But does that help make sense? I know I'm using sort of mean terms, but it's just the reality of it. Does that help you like assign value to each of those quadrants, right? You can no longer get the bottom. It's not available to you. You can get the top and you can pay significantly more. You can't have it, right?
Therein lies the problem. That's exactly where the problem lies.
Commissioner Goldstein?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is nothing more than an attempt to get back to a preferential or an annual transient mortgage system. This is the stuff that we had three basic user groups. We had the preferential user groups, we had the transients, and then we had the annual transients. We already have a system in place now where winter slips are offered at a discounted rate. Okay, we don't have a lot of takers, and there's probably a reason for that. Look outside. This has so many problems, or at least I have so many problems with it. I don't even know where to begin. I see some in the third paragraph. We're talking about less revenue to harbor and less revenue for businesses who offer boat maintenance, boat watch and boat storage businesses. But we also then talk about discounted winter transient rates were not affected in attracting vessels to moor in the winter. So why are we even going down this road of again trying to have a protected class here? Either we have a transient system and now we have a daily transient rate and we have a monthly transient rate, right?
I just wanted to just real quick, just so we can I can keep us on agenda because I just was told a little while ago by you guys that you wanted me to do that again. And so I think if you're done, then we can just move that into commission comments because that's where Dave, I think, is kind of going, right? Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
I know we're doing it anyways, but I know I'm supposed to follow this agenda, so I'm trying to follow the rules. So where you're going with it, Commissioner Goldstein, is fine as long as Harbor Master Borg is okay with us going.
Okay.
Did you have something to add, Aniva? Good. Saw you raise your hand real quick. Okay.
Okay, keep going, Commissioner Goldstein. And I think I can answer part of your question where you just said this is a proposal.
Yeah.
So that's a resolution that Mr. Pincush would like to get on the next docket. However, it's legal is reviewing it as we speak, and it would actually be a non-code ordinance. So it would be introduced during the next meeting in November, and then it would be voted on in December. If it was, if it for consideration, it'll be voted on in December. So I guess my thought is with your I don't know how we want to move forward. I'll leave that open to you guys.
I got a quick question. I realize we're an advisory board, correct? Right? We're just full of good ideas that hopefully people listen to. I really feel like hearing this from you now is kind of like a backwards way of seeing it. Like, as council members didn't really want to discuss it with the advisory board. I mean, this seems like going around, like, why are we here then if you're not going to ask us for our input? So it's not a question necessarily to you, but I really feel like this is at a good like it's kind of like a poop sandwich. Like, all right, you don't want to listen to your advisory commission, so you just work around us is what this feels like. And I'm not really happy about it. I'll put it out there.
I will say, I mean, for years at every council meeting, I invite all the council members to come to these meetings for not just Ports and Harbor, but planning and zoning. So it would have, I think, even in the initial time that this was brought to us, I think it would have gone a long way if they would have attended in like we discussed this at length for months and really thought we tried to come up with something fair, and then to just, in a couple minutes in the meeting, just have it like, no, is kind of frustrating, I guess.
Commissioner Carlson? So then I guess what I'm sort of hearing is, Madam Clerk, if we want to support something different than, so now we're being shown this resolution that will come, a non-code ordinance that could come at the next meeting, but we've reviewed it at the Harbor Master's request in our meeting. So what's our move to make a suggestion that, how do we, I think we've had this question before and I don't remember how we acted, but how do we not support this, but instead move to or make a motion to support an alternative plan provided by the Harbor Master with this fantastic presentation that we were served to, over time, bring these two issues together and just eliminate them without the need for this type of, I don't know what the appropriate word is. I can think of a lot of inappropriate words to describe what this sounds like, but how does an advisory commission make a suggestion moving forward to support Harbor Master Borg's alternative plan to the resolution?
Could we request a work session and invite Pincush to sit down with us?
Counter resolution?
I think Mr. Golson also has.
Mr. Goldstein?
Yeah, I am so against this. I don't even know where to begin. But I think one of the big solutions is to go over the whole pricing system, like our harbor master suggested, and also Aniva is fully capable of helping with too. And I think strongly we need to have rates that are based at least somewhat on the space that the vessel occupies. That's all part of this whole process. All this stuff, whereas Whittier's preferential moorage rates are the highest in South Central Alaska. Well, I don't know a hell of a lot of other harbors that actually have preferential moorage. That's what this is, preferential moorage over here, or at least it's annual transient preferential moorage that we're trying to look at here. Rates are high here because supply and demand says rates are high. And we have a limited amount of square feet. So we have to maximize that. Hopefully, if we have something down the line at the head of the bay, or we can increase the square footprint of the harbor, we can become a little more self-sufficient and put a little bit more money into our reserves so we can take care of problems in the future. But I just see no need for this at this particular time, and maybe a consensus of how the commission feels about this would at least convey the sentiment.
Harbor Master Borg?
So whether you want to do this or not, it's going to go forward. So I would rather have something from this body to say, we hear you, but we've got another idea.
So then,
Or
there are other ideas, or
because
this
it's
is not a
coming,
good
I mean,
solution.
he's bringing it forward.
Yeah.
So
after hearing that and hearing what Commissioner Goldstein said, and I know you're going to give me some advice right now, but I think it's to make a motion to provide a resolution that would go in place of this to be presented at the same time, an alternative position or something similar.
Close. The timing will be not quite at the same time. So because Mr. Pincush is proposing to change the fee schedule, it will be a non-code ordinance, which means that it will have two meetings in order to pass. One is introducing, and the second is the public hearing and possible enactment of the non-code ordinance. So what you have time for is you have time to wait until your next regular meeting. For at this meeting, you would make a motion possibly to recommend, request that a resolution is written to recommend to the city council to reject the transient annual discount program and adopt the proposal presented by Harbor Master Borg, and possibly schedule a joint work session with them to go with that resolution. That we would then prepare a resolution and bring it to you at your December meeting, which is early December. And then you could vote on it then. And then we could take that resolution to the December council meeting, which is where they would have their public hearing and possible enactment of that non-code ordinance, should everything go perfectly to schedule.
Commissioner Colson?
Yeah. That's exactly what she said.
I know we need to say it, but I'll second that. But so we need to, it was a fantastic description. Yeah. I guess a good something to Commissioner Goldstein.
Just point of clarity here. A non-code ordinance here. What you're saying is that this will be brought up as a non-code ordinance, and it will go for a reading, a first and second hearing, and then it will be, if it's approved, it becomes part of the code, right?
No,
Or are you saying because it's not technically legal, that it's a non-ordinance?
no, the fee schedule is not incorporated in
Right,
code.
right.
So but it's required to be changed by an ordinance. So because it's not in code, you're not
I
actually
see.
changing the code. It's a non-code ordinance.
Right.
That changes it. It just forces the council to have the public hearing. Takes 2 meetings, have a public hearing.
Okay,
sort of
thanks.
thing. Yeah.
So do we need to more formally?
I currently have recorded that Mr. Carlson made a motion and Mr. Chair seconded to request a resolution to recommend the City Council reject the transient annual discount program and adopt the proposal presented by Harbor Master Morg and schedule a joint work session.
And do we need to vote on it? Or are we nodding?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
let's move to-
Discussion first, if there's
Oh,
any further.
is there any
discussion.
further discussion? Does that, Mr. Goldstein, does that get us a little bit further ahead than where we are right now?
It gets a little further ahead, but I'm still against this. I think we ought to have 2 groups, transient and the preferential.
I will also add that I reached out to Northern Economics for a bid for next year to do a fee review, and I got that today. So Chris is trying to work that into our next year's budget, because we're going to do a little kind of budget adjustment as needed, and she wants to add that in, and we got a really good offer from him. So that'll go right into what you just spoke about as far as fee schedules and such. So, which we're shooting for 2027 enactment.
And I think Commissioner Goldstein, what this would do is if whatever the resolution looks like, it'll bring those 2 together and it'll erase them having 2 names for the future and then address what Harbor Master Borg just said about possibly going down that direction. So, okay. Was there any further discussion on that?
I got a question.
Go ahead, Trey.
Borg, your alternative plan that you proposed, I was wondering why you would reduce the top half of the people instead of slowly just bringing up the bottom half. Why do the reduction up top?
So you're talking about the new annual transient fee?
Regarding your spreadsheet, right? The people up top were
Yep.
the current slip holders. And then the
No, those
bottom
aren't
half-
slip. Yeah, those are folks that are just here transient year round. And they are not taking advantage of the ATMA. So those are the folks that are actually right now paying for their monthly transient in the summer and then their winter transient in the winter. So that the 40% that Mr. Pincush recommended would be $11.56. What I'm proposing is to move that up to $13.50, right? And that kind of brings, and then lowering or, charging $8.50 a foot a year to the folks that are currently on the ATMA, which would keep us from losing a large sum of money. We'd still actually put a little money in the coffers, but that wouldn't be such a massive hit to them. I mean, I would have a hard time just telling a person, hey, your rates are going up $3,000 next year. That's not fair.
and I get why you're making that reduction on the bottom half, the protected bunch. Right. You try to bring it up slowly, but why make the reduction to the top half to begin with if they're already paying those fees?
That's a real good question. I think the idea is that if we did that, then we would incentivize more people to be here year round. But I don't see it. One of the reasons people don't come here in the wintertime is perfect. Look out the window right now. The other reason is we do require insurance and we do require boat watches, which is an added cost to a lot of boaters that might come over here. When Cordova was doing their huge rebuild over there, we had boats. A lot of boats would call us up and say, "Hey, what's it cost to be there for the winter time?" And we would tell them, and then we'd tell them when they have to have a boat watch and they have to have insurance. And they're like, "I'm going to Valdez," because they don't require some of those things, So, so that's the idea, is to incentivize. Now, I will say part of the other deal that we would still maintain the monthly mortgage fee of $19.25 is what it's going to be next year. And if a person to take advantage of this annual, they're going to have to pay ahead, right? So they're going to have to pay on 1 January for the year. Now, if they decide to leave the harbor, Mr. Pincush's plan would be that they would end up paying the $19.25 a foot a month for the time that they're in the harbor. And then we would keep that, right? And then we would refund whatever the remaining would be of the entire amount, if that makes sense. But that's important to put out there, that because now that was one of the questions. I said, well, what would you keep a guy from paying $11.56 a foot for 3 months and then say, I'm out, give me all my money back? That doesn't make sense to me. And his point was, no, they would be, charged the $19.25. So that is going to put another just added thing to our harbor admin staff to have to kind of track all that. And then my other issue is, if a person comes in April and they want to pay for a year, they're going to have to pay from April to the next April. They're going to have to pay a calendar year, they're going to have to pay year to year. So that's something else that we're going to have to track, because that's the only way we could actually make it fair. I don't think we could. I think we looked at prorating that 1156 and it just didn't work out right. So they would have to pay for the anniversary date instead of a calendar date. Thank you. Clear as mud. Let's make it more difficult than we already have it.
So Commissioner Hill, I think, and Harbor Master Borg said this when he was presenting his plan originally, but it was the word I think you used maybe was make it more attractive for people, even though we didn't have a lot of room. We potentially would bring more people. But you make a great point too, is I think on paper or on the screen, when you see them coming together, it looks more like 2 classes coming together, but it could be just rising from the bottom too. How do we, Madam Clerk, if we make this, we'd made this motion already and we voted for it, we're having discussion. When we see the resolution, will we be able to make adjustments to it before we go? Good, so let's melt on that, Commissioner Hill, that's a great comment. And then when we see the resolution, we can make a decision as a group on whether we're gonna bring them one down, one up, or if anybody has any other suggestions. Anything else to discuss on that? Does that make sense? Commissioner Goldstein?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the idea of a workshop really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I don't disagree. I also would say that I think that Harbor Master Borg and his team has put in a lot of time and effort, and we've also put in a lot of time and effort to these fee structures and having another. And I think what we said was we would bring a resolution and we would suggest a workshop. Is that what you said, Madam Clerk?
That's a good question. I think what we could do is just hold it and the council could attend, as it would be a joint work session, right? Like, we're inviting you. Hey, please come and work session with us on this topic.
Before the December meeting, you're
So it
suggesting?
would be somewhere in between your meeting on December 4th and their meeting on December 16th.
Where we would introduce the resolution.
Prior to the meeting in December. Just started it.
Because really for timing, we want to do this before, right? We don't want to do this after.
Yes. However, the council could also like postpone enactment of the ordinance also. I mean, if at their November meeting, somebody who's a council member brings this up and suggests that maybe we schedule it, like postpone introduction even until the December meeting. So then there would be a little bit more time to have a work session with them before they pass this. Yeah, there's lots of options for extending
Okay.
the time frame.
So for now, we stick with our motion.
I would recommend it,
yeah.
yeah.
Any other discussion? Just go as planned.
I just had a not random thought, but based on my 25 years in Honoka, Howe Harbor, and Kona, we were real similar to Whittier as far as we were kind of, for a lot of that time, we were kind of forgotten about, whatever. But the last 10 years or so, Honoka Howe kind of came into their own, and I see Whittier doing the same thing. And I like the idea of bringing the bottom up, like we're talking about, for a couple reasons. One, it'll take a little time, but it'll attract a better, as far as the big boats, a better clientele or whatever you want to call it, of boaters that aren't worried about the nickels and dimes and that are happy to pay for boat watch. They're not going to worry. Those kind of guys aren't going to worry about, an $8 difference over time. And I think it would benefit the harbor and Whittier to get that, I guess, class is the only word to use to attract that class of people. And just on that note too, it's a little off subject, but I had a question as far as over there in Kona, once a year boats were required to show that they were operational and leave the harbor and go around the green buoy and come in. As a boat watch guy and a mechanic, I can name a handful of boats down there that are pretty much derelict, taking up space. And I realize they're paying, and that's, we need that. But I mean, to the point of bringing a better quality of owner into the harbor over time, I really think that I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think over time that the big boats will come.
That is a separate topic that we but we have discussed, and that is it's not a code issue though. It's just harbor. Is it code? It's harbor enforcement, and so I have one more thing that I'm going to mention in commissioner comments that might cover what you just said. That's a great subject, and do not, just because I'm telling you we've talked about it does not mean not to bring it back up, because unlike garbage, we won't talk about that one enough probably, because you're right. And I want to also to thank you for that input, because everything you just described is probably provable by studies already done that is what will happen, and it will bring revenue up in the harbor to provide services we're already having a hard time paying for, from people who are more than happy to receive those services for the money they're paying. So it's great. Yep.
He doesn't know what that means.
Got it. Understood. Okay. So any other discussion on what we just voted on is where we still are, right? Okay. Sorry. Any other discussion before we vote on it? Seeing none. Madam Clerk.
Voting on the motion to request a resolution to recommend the city council reject the transient annual discount program and adopt the proposal presented by Harbor Master Borg and schedule a joint work session. Mr. Carlson,
Yes.
Miss Sloan,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. Rieger,
Yes.
Mr. Goldstein,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
The motion passes and a resolution is requested.
Okay. Any other commissioner comments tonight? Ms. Sloan?
I have one brief one. And it might not be super related, I guess, but I know, like, looking around town, we still have a lot of boats that are being parked and stored in the winter on private property and business properties and stuff. And would there be, like, I guess, like, would there be a good way to, or space for those boats to be stored in the harbor lot area? Like if they had to pay a fee versus having everything all around town? Does that make sense? That's what I want to bring up.
When I first got here, we had 4 derelicts in the parking lot, and it took me almost 2 years to get rid of them. My stance now is, with the exception of what we've got, because we're doing the rebuild, if it's not on a trailer, it's not going in the parking lot, because people put them up on boat stands and then walk away, and we get stuck with them. So that's something that I put in place a long time ago, or several years ago.
I was just thinking if they were on a trailer, that maybe that would bring some winter storage revenue to the harbor versus like one boat, on each person's property. I don't know.
Yeah, well, they make deals with the landowners, and
Yeah.
that's what they do.
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to take them.
Okay.
And there's a mechanism for them to do that now, right?
Yeah. We do have a dry
Yeah.
storage, a
It's just-
monthly fee, and a.
Okay. It was just some comments made by like some community members that they would even be willing to get their own space back and like give up that extra money if there was space in the harbor. So I just wanted to ask. So thank you.
Commissioner Carlson.
Speaking about space down. I mean, currently my boat is parked down there, and I'm paying for my little slice of heaven until I can get it towed out of here. But I mean, what Dave said, if it's not on a trailer, we don't want it. I mean, that's exactly what happens. It goes up on jack stands, and then that's where it stays. And then I'll put my loader operator hat and I'll throw it on. And then when we knock that boat over that's been derelict for 3 years, all of a sudden we're on the hook for, a $10 million boat, Cherry, one owner. Like, we don't need that aggravation. So I agree, 100% agree with Dave. If it's not on a trailer, it shouldn't be down there.
Commissioner Hill, do you have anything?
No, I'm good.
Rick? Commissioner Goldstein?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, a couple of things. First of all, I think that parking area for people who are involved in the SERVS program, I think is very handy, because you have to be close to the water, be able to get your boat in the water within a certain amount of time. That might be something to think about. The other thing, just want to point out here, again, with the rates, the east side of the harbor subsidizes the west side. Big time, multiple times. The east side pays per square foot rather than the west side. So when we look at this stuff, I hope we come up with a plan that basically makes these rates a little bit more equitable and basically addresses the size of the footprint, since our footprint is very limited in that harbor, that people pay a little bit more according to the footprint that they occupy. There are a couple of concerns here. I think I still see the CBATA, or I guess it's changed its name now, but I'm just wondering what the future of that is. I think it was in between Delta and Echo. And I think the Emray, I think that was a vessel that was very small and it was on a very large slip. Hopefully we're kind of moving towards getting the boats into the slips, that they fit into. Also, as far as informational, basic information, the cell tower that's going in the Portage Valley near the Visitors Center, they're working on it. They actually had some heavy equipment in there. Heavy equipment disappeared. We had a wind event. The porta potty that they had in there flipped over. The next day it was put back up again. So I know they are working on this stuff. But that should provide just a tremendous boost, hopefully, in connectivity on that side of the tunnel. And hopefully we don't have some of the issues that just recently occurred with some residents here in Whittier who I don't know if they couldn't reach 911 or what the story was, but I know other people have been in that situation. Finally, I did want to mention to the commission something that came up in a discussion with the tunnel operator or the tunnel manager over there. years ago, we had a city manager here who was a visionary. He had just a lot of things he wanted to do with the head of the bay and also with the road to Shotgun Cove, which at the time was just mere pretty much talk and finally put into play. And one of these issues was to move the ferry terminal out to Emerald Cove. He also thought about moving the runway, which has continued to be an issue with the state, out to the Emerald Cove area too. And there is an area there that it would be actually match it very well. But in talking with the manager over at the tunnel, he said if the community decides to move that ferry terminal or puts in a little jog there to move the ferry terminal, it opens the door to a tremendous amount of funding. And he said this funding not only will address moving the ferry terminal, but it will address access to the new ferry terminal out at Emerald Cove, which means the road. It means the state takes the onus of paving or paving and plowing the road. Utilities can be put out there, which benefit the city, benefits Chugach Native Corporation, and basically it's a win-win for the city. It also frees up some of this area here too and reduces some of the congestion. It might even put kind of a bee in the bonnet of the railroad when they talked about their master plan in addressing a road on the south side of the tracks, which then would hook up with this new road out to Emerald Cove and leave the existing road basically for waterfront activities here right in the Whittier area. So if you have a chance, maybe take a look at that transportation plan and just mention that, hey, might be nice to move the ferry terminal and the airport runway out towards the Emerald Cove area. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Goldstein. Anyone else? And then I did have, I had one thing. So speaking to what you guys were talking about with boats around town, trailers, not trailers, and general cleanup, I'd like to make a motion to finally get this commission and the Planning and Zoning Commission together for a joint meeting, finally, after talking about it for so long, and talk about some of these things. I think two things. One is enforcement, but the other one would be code enforcement. So some things I think are code and some things are just need enforcement, but where these discussions can happen in a work session environment, and then we could have some outcome from that. So sorry to work session you to death, but I think that's probably the only way we're going to ever talk about that.
Mr. Chair, that was a lot of words.
So I'd like to make a motion to have a joint meeting with Planning and Zoning to discuss code enforcement.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sorry, and I can summary better next time.
Does the commission have a second for that motion?
A second.
Any further discussion?
Any further discussion?
Okay. Voting on the motion to schedule a joint work session with Planning and Zoning to discuss code enforcement. Mr. Carlson,
Yes.
Mr. Goldstein,
Yes.
Mr. Rieger,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Ms. Sloan,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
The motion passes and we will be scheduling a joint work session.
Okay, next up, citizen discussion. I don't know if do you have to go out there and look anyways? Yes, we have to go through the formalities. But probably seeing none, hearing none. Is there any commission or administration response to said comments? Seeing none? If there's no further business, there being no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 7:06. 7:46 is what I said. 7:46.
All right. See you.